Hello and welcome back to the channel again. If you're here for the first time, you might want to watch part one. If you're back again, I apologise. Do try and stay awake. In this episode, I thought we'd talk about design ethos and starting to curate your overall theme and your things like your Lightroom catalogue. So how are we going to do that? Well, you've brainstormed through, you've come up with an idea. Maybe you're a street photographer, so you can do something around maybe Canary Wharf or the streets of Birmingham. So you go, okay, right, cool, you've got your theme. So how are you going to design that? Now, what I mean by that is, think about the layout of your magazine, your zine, in your head. What does it look like? So let's go back to the ones I was showing you earlier. Let's start with Russell. Okay, Russell's slate is very clean. It's a very clean zine. All the images are the same size. Okay, and that works nicely. It's white, it's very minimalist, works well. The same is true of Dave Fieldhouse's. If we look at James's, there is some variation in the crop, but again, you get one picture on a page for you to take in. There are some good websites around that can help you. I would recommend, and I'll put links in the notes, Adobe's website, Behance, I think that's how you say it, behance.net. There's lots of creative designers on there, and I would strongly recommend not necessarily looking for zines, but looking at their layouts and thinking about how you can design your vision. So, as I spoke about last time, there are some great websites you can go and look at. So I thought I'd just quickly do this. So the first one I want to talk about is this one, Street Zines. And if we open it up, you can see it loads the zine and then allows you to flick through it and look at people's work and find inspiration or just connect with somebody. I really like this. I think it's a really good website. So let's have a look at mine and I'll talk through why I've done certain things. So if I take my Copenhagen, okay, I'll just take all the guff out. So the first thing I did was I used text, okay, and I used text in a very specific way to kind of say where we were. And I am less bothered about having one photo on a page. I connected the photos and thought about how they might look together as a collection. Okay, so you can see the bike ones, and if I flick through, I have things like, you know, we've got the King's Tower, and then you've got the I've kind of filled that space with the rooftops of Copenhagen. It's a different way of doing it. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. The other thing I've done that none of the other ones have done is I've gone right up to the edge on some of the pages. Okay, and that's my design language. It's deliberate. So when we get into designing, we'll talk about bleed areas and the areas around. Generally, the printers will trim the edges. So do you want your images to have a border on the page, or actually more modern language is to actually go into those bleed areas and allow them to be used, which is what I've tried to do. I've tried to do it in the Copenhagen one, and then in this one, what I did, and what I'll do is I'll run through, I'll put some top-down views of this particular zine so you can see what I did. So the first thing I did was nice bit of text there to kind of explain what black, orange and white was about. But because it's black, orange and white, I also used the design theme of putting colours on the page to actually pull through, and you'll see how that works as we go through this. So you'll start to see that photos that perhaps don't necessarily go together, but when you add a little bit of colour, just a colour block in the background, it really ties them together. I've also made the pages dark grey, not white, and that was a style choice. I really wanted the black and white images to kind of just sit on the page and the orange to lift them up. So as you get further in, I also did a full spread in the centre, not Burt Reynolds, but you know, Shingle Street, and then started to pull the orange and the colours through. Okay, so by the time you get to the back, we have an orange line running through, and you can start to see it's pulling the colours. And the orange was, I mean, I chose the orange very carefully. I think this is a really good example of what I've done. So this orange picks up this orange, but stops exactly in line with the photo. Okay, so there is a design language there. I'm very proud of this. It raised £500 for charity, which was way beyond my expectations. But yeah, I chose to do something slightly different to other people. But that's fine. You might just want to go for a very minimalistic look. So that's the design ethos. We probably want to talk about how you actually build these things. So things that you will need, and I will go into this in detail in the next episode. You'll notice this is one take, freestyle jazzing it piece. We'll start to talk about the tools. So you need your cataloguing software, whatever that is. I use Lightroom, like many people, and you need desktop publishing software. Now for that, I used a piece of open source called Scribus. It's available for most operating systems. It's not too difficult to learn, but it will allow you to do things like mark out the bleed areas, put guides in, export in the correct format. When we get talking about printers, then you'll need to be able to export in the correct PDF formats usually for the printers to accept. So that's the design. Apologies. So that's the design ethos. I hope that all makes sense. And next time we'll talk about a bit more about how you actually bring this together on your desktop. So for now, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you later. Cheers.